it's proved not to be safe. And I can't even imagine what's going through his mind. To a much lesser degree, when I announced that I was going to run in a general election, the first day I was in Clacton and a woman ran up and threw a milkshake in my face. 2 days later, I was in Barnsley and some yob threw a cup full of cement at the bus. I got to tell you, I wake up the next morning thinking, can I go on campaigning? Can I actually go on going out? Doesn't matter how much security you have around you, if you're actually going out to meet people, the risk of these things is always there. Now,
Nigel Farage's concerns about personal safety while campaigning reflect the growing tension and polarization in British politics. Over the years, Farage has been vocal about the threats and harassment he has faced, particularly from far-left activists and groups who oppose his views on issues like immigration, Brexit, and nationalism. These incidents underscore a broader trend of political violence and intimidation in the UK, where figures challenging the political establishment, such as Farage, often become targets of hostility. Farage's high-profile role and controversial stances have led to various violent incidents, such as the well-known 2019 episode when he was pelted with a milkshake. He sees these actions as part of a broader effort by some to intimidate and silence political opponents, rather than engage in debate. Farage has frequently highlighted these experiences to argue that violence and intimidation, particularly from left-wing activists, are being downplayed, contributing to a climate of fear and escalating political polarization. These safety concerns affect Farage's confidence in public campaigning, limiting his ability to engage directly with voters and posing broader challenges to democratic discourse. The rising tensions in British politics, which have sometimes escalated into violence, highlight the difficulties faced by public figures who espouse divisive views. Farage's experiences echo a wider pattern of increasing political violence in the UK, contributing to an environment where confrontation rather than dialogue is becoming more common.
I know that you've had several near-death experiences and threats to your own life, and did that sort of change, how did that change you, for example, that plane crash in 2010?
Well, I mean, the plane crash is something I should probably never have survived, and I was horribly smashed up, but all I felt after that was relief. It's a miracle. I'm alive. Yeah, I'm a bit damaged. I had to have operations and things afterwards, but so I've never suffered any problems with that because I feel, wow, I'm lucky. Oh, and by the way, I'm never going in a single engine light aircraft ever again. But what he's going through is different, because literally, if he walks out of his front door, how does he know that he's safe? It's truly horrible. I have to say that the narrative that is put out by the liberal left against conservative figures is frankly insightful. And I don't want to say too much, but what I will say is that my security situation has changed significantly since the general election. Significantly. And that's as a result of the riots and left and right commentators, Conservatives, Labour, saying that I was inciting the riots, as if somehow, I was linked with the Tommy Robinson wing of politics. And I genuinely believe in my case that what's been said by some national broadcasters literally is insightful. Well, here, it's a whole lot worse than that.
Nigel Farage's survival of a near-fatal plane crash and the persistent threats to his personal safety present a striking contrast between two types of life-threatening challenges: an unpredictable accident and the ongoing risks tied to his political stance. The plane crash, which occurred during the 2010 election campaign, marked a pivotal moment for Farage, likely deepening his resolve and giving him a renewed perspective on life. This near-death experience may have further solidified his determination to continue his political work despite facing adversity. While the crash was an isolated, sudden event, the threats Farage faces due to his controversial positions on immigration and Brexit are constant and relentless. These threats highlight the increasing dangers faced by high-profile political figures, especially those challenging the political establishment. Farage's resilience, seen in both his political perseverance and his survival of the crash, underscores his commitment to his causes, even in the face of serious physical and psychological risks. Unlike the crash, the continuous safety threats from political adversaries create a chronic sense of danger. These threats, tied to his divisive political views, especially on immigration and Brexit, affect his ability to campaign freely and contribute to the growing polarization in British politics. This environment reflects a broader global trend where populist politicians like Farage face increased hostility and physical risks as political discourse becomes more polarized. Farage's situation not only illustrates the personal toll of public life, but also raises concerns about the erosion of civil discourse as political differences increasingly manifest in verbal and physical aggression. The ongoing threats he faces challenge the notion of open political engagement and highlight the need for enhanced security and respect for public figures across the political spectrum. The attack on Nigel Farage by a Unison activist in South Yorkshire reflects the growing issue of politically motivated violence in the UK and beyond. Farage, known for his prominent role in Brexit and his anti-immigration views, has frequently been a target of hostility. This particular incident, involving a member of an organized labor group, Unison, emphasizes how political violence can intersect with activist organizations. Such attacks are becoming part of a broader trend where public figures, particularly those with controversial or polarizing views, face harassment and violence. Extremists on both the left and right are increasingly taking drastic measures to silence their political opponents, driven by growing societal polarization. Farage's anti-establishment and populist rhetoric has made him a prime target for far-left activists who strongly oppose his stance on immigration and nationalism. While the police acted quickly to contain the situation, the growing frequency of such incidents raises serious concerns about the security of political figures. Farage has openly expressed fears for his safety, particularly while campaigning or making public appearances. Ensuring the safety of political figures, irrespective of their views, is crucial to maintaining open democratic discourse and public engagement. The attack also underscores the declining civility in UK politics, where disagreement increasingly turns to violence rather than debate. This dangerous trend risks further polarizing the political landscape and discouraging participation in democratic processes. Addressing the root causes of this polarization and promoting dialogue are essential to preventing further escalation of political violence.
I genuinely believe that our democratic process is directly under threat. What happened to me in Clacton last week, when a young woman threw a milkshake in my face, and then the mob violence that we saw in Barnsley today, is an attempt to stop me speaking. It's an attempt to stop us campaigning. It's an attempt to crush democracy. It is worrying, it is frightening, and it's noticeable that most of the people there today were young men and women either at or freshly out of our university system. Their minds are being poisoned in school, in university, and it's plain wrong. Now, for me, this is very difficult, because I actually like going out, meeting people. I'm perfectly happy. You can disagree with me. You can call me rude names. If you think about it, when we commemorated those last remnants of that generation that engineered and took part in D-Day last week. Well, some of us commemorated it, others went home early, but I mean, there you are. If that wasn't for the right for us to agree to disagree, verbally and not physically, I don't know what was. All I can say is that whilst it is concerning, and whilst of course it does make me thoughtful, and I may need to change tactics slightly, but I'm going to make one promise to you and the tens of thousands watching this live, online, and the media, and my promise is this: I will not surrender to the mob. I will not stop campaigning. This democratic process must continue.
Nigel Farage's response to incidents like the milkshake attack and the mob violence in Barnsley reflects key themes in modern political discourse, particularly regarding free speech, political polarization, and the influence of educational institutions. Farage's defiance against physical attacks highlights his broader stance on defending free speech and resisting what he sees as efforts to suppress dissent. He portrays incidents like the milkshake attack as evidence of a shift from debate to intimidation, tapping into concerns about rising hostility and the silencing of controversial views. This framing strengthens his appeal to supporters who fear political correctness is curbing free expression. Farage's criticism of schools and universities, claiming that minds are being poisoned, reflects his belief that educational institutions foster left-wing activism and intolerance toward conservative views. He links this to the rise in violent protests, arguing that these institutions contribute to a mob mentality among his detractors. This rhetoric aligns with broader right-wing concerns about the perceived dominance of progressive ideas in education, further polarizing the debate by framing his opposition as irrational and ideologically driven. In positioning himself as the rational figure facing chaotic, extreme opposition, Farage reinforces his image as a defender of free speech and order. His response to these incidents not only appeals to his base, but also highlights broader cultural and political divisions, resonating with those who feel marginalized by mainstream political discourse. Thanks for watching, and be sure to join the free Telegram group linked in the description, where we can talk freely and uncensored about important issues like this and support each other. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and become a channel member for exclusive content. See you next time.